1-degree shifts and always, always reflect and revise. The world around us is simply moving too fast. Because when that friction is gone, and maybe you've experienced it, maybe you're experiencing it right now, things are great. What do? Do we take our foot off the gas? Well, no, because as soon as we do, competition comes roaring past us because they're not taking their foot off the gas. They're creating this culture of experimentation. Even when things are good, why not make them a little bit better? Why not try to create something new? We've all heard it before, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, maybe if it ain't broke, it doesn't mean that we can't improve it. Take it from a company who's actually seen their stock rise 130 times in the last 12 years. Does anyone want to guess what non-tech company this is? No? Actually, it's Domino's Pizza. Wow. Domino's Pizza, let me take you back, 2008, 2009, they were about $900 million in debt, almost ready to file for bankruptcy. Things were not going well at Domino's Pizza. They started to ask their customers, their clients, they started to spend millions of dollars to try and get people to come and buy their pizzas. Please come and buy our pizzas, to which people were, but only once. Some of you might remember Domino's Pizza 2008, 2009 was not that great. And as they looked to find the root of that friction, they asked their customer base, what's going on here? Why aren't you coming to buy our pizzas? And people were saying, not my words, people were saying, is that crust made out of cardboard? Is that sauce made out of ketchup? Is that cheese even a dairy product? And look, this is like before being vegan was like cool, so that was not a compliment. People were not happy with Domino's Pizza. So they brought chefs in from around the country, making hundreds of just 1-degree shifts to the recipe, different herbs, different spices, different cheeses, different breads, different flours, yeast, baking sodas, until finally, after hundreds of tests along the way, they actually had a pizza that their customers were really loving. 18 months later, they'd climbed themselves out of debt. Things were going well. They were hitting cruise control. Or did they? No, they heard it before too. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But no, they knew that because this culture of experimentation got them to where they were, maybe it could get them ahead of the competition too. And it's important to note, though, Domino's would tell you that their competition wasn't Panago Pizza, it wasn't Papa John's, it wasn't Pizza Pizza, it wasn't Panago. I said it twice. Their competition was themselves. And they were trying to be just a little bit better today than they were yesterday. And if they could repeat that every single day of the week, then maybe they'd have something incredible. So at the time, it wasn't a broken process to call in and order a pizza and then go get it, but they said, maybe we can improve it. Enter the pizza tracker. Now you could see where your pizza was in the process. You could see when it was in the oven, when the quality check was happening. I remember clearly looking through the curtains at home, waiting for that delivery driver to come up because I knew it was coming soon, right? I had the notification. Then they said, well, maybe we can keep experimenting. Maybe we could look at how we're delivering our pizza. Maybe we don't even need drivers to deliver the pizza. They're trying that now too. Maybe we can even look at drone delivery, which, by the way, didn't work, at least not yet. But that's the point of this culture of experimentation. They keep trying, they keep learning, they keep growing, they keep developing. Just a couple of months ago, they put out this new policy that said, if you come up and pick up your pizza, we'll give you a $3 credit to your next order, which I thought, hey, that's a little back to the future, going back in time to move forward. But sure, if Domino's is on the way home from work, why wouldn't I pick it up to save $3? All this to say, this culture of experimentation, of innovation, by making these small shifts, well, their stock has done better than Google's parent company, Alphabet, and yeah, they're up about 130 times in the last 12 years. All this to say, Harvard Business Review did an incredible study that said when we're allowed to solve meaningful problems, engagement, motivation, and productivity goes through the roof, regardless of whether we have a choice on where to work or not. And I thought this was interesting because, yes, we're allowed to experiment, even encouraged to experiment, but I actually think there's something deeper that's happening here. When we're allowed to experiment, when we're encouraged to experiment, what that really signals is that I trust you to try something new. I trust you to make a small 1-degree shift. I trust you to have your opinions, your perspectives, and your ideas heard. So here's a question. What happens when anyone in our team is encouraged to experiment and make those small 1-degree shifts? Take it from Shreddies. A nice hometown favorite, right? At least it is for older generations. The younger generation isn't buying Shreddies, or at least they weren't buying Shreddies. Shreddies needed to figure out what was going wrong. Why are Shreddies sales falling off of a cliff? So they polled their customers, especially the younger generation, assuming that Shreddies didn't taste good to them, and they found out that the problem was actually something different than they thought. A lot of them thought that, yeah, Shreddies weren't going to taste good. What they found when they found the root of the problem is that Shreddies were boring. They didn't have the cinnamon sugar. They didn't have the berries. They couldn't compete with the Fruit Loops and the Craves of the world. So what was Shreddies going to do to bring that excitement back up without changing it too much, without compromising the integrity of Shreddies? Here's what they had. They brought some people together. They gave them 3 weeks. They said, no, there are no stupid ideas. And they said, well, how do we make these 1 degree shifts to make Shreddies exciting again? Here's what they came up with. Check it out.
Shreddies is supposed to be square.
Have any of these diamond shapes gone out?
New Diamond Shreddies cereal. Save 100% more than anything with delicious diamond shape.
I mean, come on, right? Look at the new Diamond Shreddies. How could you not get stoked about these new Diamond Shreddies? I didn't really give you many details about the group of people that came together for this campaign, but you might think it was a C-suite, you might think it had been partners, you might think it had been managers that had been there for 15 to 20 years. No, Shreddies decided to go to their interns and to their first-year marketing employees. They said, we'll give you 3 weeks with no budget, ask as many questions as you can, and come back with just a little shift. I mean, I was going to say, this is a 45-degree shift, let's call it what it is, but like a 1 degree shift that allows this product to be just a little bit better than it was. This idea was generated by a 26-year-old intern. His name was Hunter Sommerfeld. He'd been with the company for 3 weeks before this campaign started. And they ran with it. We're talking billboards, we're talking bus ads, we're talking TV spots, we're talking sports arenas. Shreddies sales that next quarter were up 18%. And they continued to run with it. They said, well, why don't we try double Shreddies? Now they're capitalizing on the faults of Shreddies. Now you've got a double Shreddies on your spoon, you can make a wish. Hey, let's do one better. Why don't we make it a contest? What? Now they're saying this double Shreddies is kind of like a fortune cookie. You can make a wish if you get a double Shreddies and maybe your dreams will come true, at least for 7 years. All this to say, this culture of experimentation, when we bring everyone on the team together, when we trust them to have their ideas and their opinions heard, that's when great things are going to happen. And I would encourage you to adopt a framework like this, something very simple, like a start, stop, and continue framework. You're going to hear over today incredible ideas from a whole series of speakers. And maybe you're going to come back on Monday morning and say, why don't we try starting something like this? Maybe just small, maybe just for a week, maybe just with a small group of people. And because the world around us is moving so fast, maybe there's a practice that we've been using for 8 months that doesn't serve us anymore. Maybe we can stop that and create this forum to have this conversation. And in the interest of making 1 degree shifts, my guess is that 99% of the things that you're doing right now are going really well. At the end of this meeting, I say, well, what should we continue doing? And reaffirm and validate those practices that are already serving us so well. I think what should happen is we should have a meeting like this every 2 weeks, 15 minutes, 8:30 in the morning to 8:45. And what's going to happen is after meeting 6, meeting 8, meeting 10, or sorry, week 6, week 8, week 10, you're going to find that people on your team are going to say, actually, I don't have anything this week. And that's okay. We're going to keep having those meetings because what this symbolizes is that we've got a psychologically safe space where your opinions and your ideas matter, they're important, and they need to be heard. And yes, great ideas may come from it, but also we'll have this sense of inclusion and this sense of contribution, because what we found in all the work that we did is that the root of happiness, the root of satisfaction was actually a feeling of contribution. And in a world that is moving faster than it ever has before, I think it's important that we give each other a little bit of time, a little bit of attention, and slow down.